I started learning that people are no longer buying. They're buying based off of like emotion.
Hello, welcome to episode 225 of the Smart Agents Podcast. As always, my name is Michael Walter, and I'll be your host. On today's episode, we are joined by Houston-based real estate agent Kayla Beamon. Entering the industry just 7 years ago and eventually getting her license 5 years ago, Kayla has found that focusing on building her personal brand has led to more business than any amount of paid leads could. Throughout our conversation, Kayla shares how she launched her real estate career in the beginning, how a brunch with her sister led her down the path of personal brand building and content creation, and finally we touch on her passion for helping clients purchase the homes of their dreams. But before we get on to the day's featured interview, if you or someone else on your team has an incredible story of real estate success or tips to share with our community, send us a message to feedback@smartagents.com. We're always on the lookout for new guests to inspire our listeners. And lastly, if you enjoy this conversation and want to hear more, be sure to subscribe to the Smart Agents Podcast. We stream on all major podcasting platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. All right, let's get on with our conversation with Kayla Beamon. If you would like to connect with or follow Kayla, I've included her social media handles in the episode description. All right. Well, the way I like to start everything out is if you could introduce yourself to us a little bit. Tell us who you are and where you are at.
All right. So my name is Kayla Beamon. I am in Houston, Texas, and I am a realtor, thriving developer.
Awesome. How long have you been in real estate?
So this question is always tricky. So actually I started about 7 years ago and I was actually doing new home sales. So I didn't have my actual realtor license at that point, but I was working with Toll Brothers, and that was kind of got me interested in the whole real estate game.
Awesome. And what was it that initially got you interested in working for Toll Brothers, just to get actually into the industry itself?
I'm gonna be so honest. I just needed a job. I went in for the interview and it seemed easy enough, and I got to sit in one of their new homes in it's now Katy. But so I got to sit in one of their new homes. I was just like, this is pretty easy. So I was actually an assistant at first. And so I was like, okay, so I get to sit in this beautiful home. It's a $500,000 home and kind of show people different houses. This seems like a dream life. So I just kind of started with that. And then I really got my first feeling of closing my first family. It just felt so good. It's not a sell, kind of like when you're working at like a mall. This is something you're helping somebody really create memories and make like the biggest purchase of their life. And so that's kind of what really got my heart into real estate.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, so how long after you, took that job with Toll Brothers did you go and get your license?
Okay. So I'm going to be honest, I would have stayed with them, but COVID happened and it shut down everything. And so in 2020, I was stuck in the house and I was bored. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to get my license and I'm going to give a whack at it, because unfortunately, when you work with new home sales, you can only sell that product. And so I was like, I think I can do this all over Houston. So that's really what got me interested.
Awesome. And then, so once you got your license, and, if this is going on, time of COVID, what were you doing to market yourself and promote yourself as an area real estate agent?
So in COVID or now?
Well, yeah, I guess, like starting out, like kind of what got you your start?
So what got me my start was definitely sphere of influence. I want to say that's what I started with, but that's not where I'm ending now, because a lot of realtors I'm finding they're actually in my position, and I guess we can get into that a little bit later in the show. But so I'll just stick with that answer right now. Sphere of influence is really what kind of got me started.
Right. And it was the market, was that somewhere that you grew up? So you had a larger sphere of influence, or how were you adding and, marketing to those people?
So I'm going to be honest. Before I even was doing real estate, I was actually doing parties. And so I had a lot of people on my Facebook. I kind of was dabbling in, not real estate, Instagram at the time. So I was really reaching out to people. And really at first I was saying, hey guys, I know you need a new apartment here soon. Let me help you find it. And so over time, those renters became my buyers as well.
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, I think to reach out to anybody that you had past interactions with from a past career, I think is, that's a great source of leads. And then I really like, going to those people that are renting, because of course they all, ideally, they will be stepping up from the rental to owning a home one day.
Exactly. And I mean, kind of diving deeper into that, at that time, I was young and everybody around me, they weren't trying to buy a home. So I kind of, at first, I was kind of scared and I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to find a buyer or a seller? I didn't grow up in Houston. So I grew up actually near the Austin area. But, so being in Houston, I was kind of like starting fresh, but I had a lot of people that I would party with. And
Yeah.
so, I was like, but I mean, we all get tired of our apartments or we want to move to a bigger, maybe a house. So that's kind of how got started was the renting game.
Right. And then, so from transitioning, you said that your marketing and your lead generation has changed since then. What have you done to, move from your sphere of influence to bringing in new leads?
So I really got into, I've always been big on marketing and I wanted to understand, because you can only do rentals for so long. Then I would have a sale here or there. So, I mean, it went from one sale to three sales to maybe five sales. And now I'm just the average agent. And I'm a Aries at heart. And so I'm an overachiever. And I was like, how do I really get into the game of getting my name out there and making sure that I'm positioning myself to be everybody's realtor? This even if they don't know me. And so I kind of started learning about leads, and you can pay for leads, and those services are like over $1,000. And so I was like, well, I don't have that kind of money yet. And so, I really started diving into Facebook ads and figuring out how to do it myself. And so, I mean, honestly, I started with $5 a day, Facebook ads, testing them out, seeing which got the good leads, which got the crappy leads, which got no leads. And that's really where I've honed into. And now, even deeper, I'm really getting into like social media and TikTok. And that has been like definitely a game changer. I have this past year, I have helped over 7 people that were coming in from other states that they're helping or they're hoping to move to Houston, didn't know anything about Houston. And I'm doing videos just based off of just Houston life. And so that's really where it transferred.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely want to dive into both of those because I think that's a really cool, sharing things about your community, on the TikToks and Instagrams is a great way to, kind of show up as that relocation expert. But first, before we dive into that, I want to ask you about the Facebook ads. What were you doing? What did you find was working best for you when it came to the different campaigns you were maybe putting together?
So the very first one, I saw it on a YouTube channel. YouTube University is my life. And I found that, okay, I should work with sellers. And so I started with let me send you a list of homes. And even though that was working, nobody was serious. And so and it's also like one thing I found is if you do not hit them up within the first 30 minutes of them signing up, it makes a huge difference. After 30 minutes, they're probably not going to hit me back. So I found out that ad really didn't work for me. And so then I kind of went to the buyers and started listing homes and saying, oh, well, if you want to buy this home. And that really didn't work for me either because they just weren't serious. Or they were not in a position, not only financially, but mentally to buy a home. And so the one ad that really worked for me that I got a lot of leads, but it was really bad leads. And so I'm going to give the sauce here. I put a ad that said no down payment, which of course we all know there's grants out there for no down payment. And so I got a lot of people that had no money. So, but I was getting leads, like I kid you not, at least like 50 a day, just rolling in. And from there, I was like, okay, I got to tweak this because now everybody I'm talking to, they're kind of like a dead lead at this point because I'm talking to them and let's just be honest, like they're making 20,000 a year. And it's just like, that's not going to buy you a home, unfortunately. And so the lead that really worked for me is when I really tailored down to what did my ideal audience look like? What does my ideal buyer look like? So, okay, I want to work, let's just say $500,000 buyer. Okay. So they make about how much money? About 100,000 a year or 50,000 with a couple. So then I really dived into that and just really see what would catch their attention. So instead of saying no down payment, I would say we're helping with lower interest rates. And so, or I said we're helping with closing costs. So those two ads really got me more qualified leads. And even though I still have to work them, they were definitely more qualified.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and that's the great, when you're running ads and things like that is really paying attention to the quality of leads that are coming in so that you can start, tweaking those campaigns to start bringing in higher qualified leads. Because, 5 high qualified leads is a whole lot better than 50 unqualified leads.
Right. Totally makes sense. And I will also say $5 a day worked back in the day, but it doesn't work now. So I've been telling everybody, if you're not doing at least $20 a day, like it's really not, it's the numbers aren't going to make sense for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you were setting up those campaigns, were you targeting kind of a geographic area? How did you, kind of set the parameters on that?
So the first couple of ads, it was just the Houston area. I'll kind of do a little bit outside of the Houston area. I think my first real lead was from Dallas, and that kind of like went a ding in my head. And I'm like, oh crap, there is a lot of people moving here from out of the city. And so then I made it all of Texas. And then my latest leads have been more so out of like the whole United States. And so with Houston being, we're growing like crazy. It's like there's so many people who they don't know where to start, and they see my ad and they're just like, do you think you can help us?
Yeah, absolutely. I was talking to somebody not too long ago, and he was on like LinkedIn ad type stuff, but it was really figuring out, where are people moving into your market? Because if you see a pattern, then, there's a great place to target. And I think, seeing that you had that lead coming from Dallas, and it definitely, helped solidify that I should broaden my net a little bit. I shouldn't just be focusing on my,
Yeah.
my local market here.
Totally. And it really excited me. And honestly, I was thinking, like, why wasn't I thinking of that at all? Like at first, especially. So I went to college in Dallas. So I was like, oh, I have some college, friends that they're actually looking at Houston. And so it just, honestly, I was kind of like frustrated with myself. Like I should have did this a long time ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you, so from the, the paid ad campaigns to moving to more, kind of building your personal brand or putting out that content, when did that shift happen for you?
So I would say about last year, it kind of happened by accident. I'm gonna be honest. Me and my sister, we started our sister brunch days. And so we started going to different restaurants and checking them out. And I was like, oh, a lot of people do these videos on TikTok, so I'm just going to post them. And actually, that's not my first one that went crazy. My first one that went crazy was I went to a new gym in Houston, and I did a video, very simple video, posted it, basically told people, hey guys, check out this new gym. It's about to open. Did a view of the whole gym. It was a really neat gym, really cool gym. People don't know this, so this is my first time actually sharing this. The video went crazy. The gym called me and said I had free 5 years. Like they were literally giving me 5 years as a gym membership. I'm gonna be honest too, I haven't actually stepped foot in that gym. I need to, but it's not near my house. But yes, I was like, oh, this is awesome. So that was my first, like, once again, being kind of area. And so I started posting the things with my sister, posting different brunch spots. But at the end, I would add, my little tagline of saying if, in real estate, so the video is not about real estate at all. And so I started having people hit me up and say, oh my God, I tried out this restaurant, loved it. By the way, I'm looking for a house. And so I'm like, okay. So it just kind of like, I started learning that people are no longer buying, they're buying based off of like emotion. And so just like now these people are watching me on TikTok, they're finding like they're my friend. And so now they're saying like, actually, I think I like this girl. So I'm going to hit her up and ask her some real estate questions. And they might use me, they might not, but more than likely me just giving that exclusive information on what they're looking for. Now they're more inclined to want to work with me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these are, you've kind of started it's a one-way conversation for them. They're getting to know you, they're getting to know your expertise and your expertise for the area. So when that time does come, for them to make that home purchase or decide, this is the area I want to live in, you're the person, you're the one that they're seeing in all the videos.
Yeah.
Like you must have all the, you are the wealth of knowledge there.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is I would have never thought me saying, "Oh my God, this mimosa is really good here," or
Mhm.
"Oh my God, they have the best waffles," would tell somebody like, I think I should work with her as like my agent as well. So then it's like once again stepping back into going into your buyer's mindset and thinking, okay, if somebody is moving from Florida, they're going to want to visit Houston. And when they visit Houston, they're going to type things to do in Houston. And so when my video pops up and I'm saying, hey, go try this food, this spot, this museum. By the way, I'm a realtor. they're like, oh wow, you gave me free information. Now I kind of see you as a friend. I'm showing personality. And it really tailored and meshed in together.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt that you get to have fun while you're making those videos too.
Oh
Like
yeah.
that's just it's what you're doing in your normal life,
Yeah.
and you're using that to to promote your area, but then also it doesn't hurt to promote yourself too.
Oh, totally. And I mean, like you said, I had fun with it. My sister, she hates it and loves it at the same time. But yeah, it's really fun. And, now I'm learning more. The algorithm changes a lot. And so, like one thing I did find I'd say a couple of years ago, a couple of months ago, I started posting house tours because I was just like, oh, people probably just want to see some house tours. Unfortunately, those videos do the worst on my TikTok. But I will also say that TikTok is very niche and they want to make sure that your page is niche. And so, with that being said, if you do start a page and you do want to do only home tours, I would suggest only do home tours because they're going to show it to people that like looking at home tours. But since my videos that got like hundreds of thousands of views, those are on food and things to do in Houston. Now that's what TikTok wants to show my viewers. And so certain videos won't do as well once TikTok figures out like, oh yeah, this is the person to go to for this or that.
Before we dive into our next topic, I have a question. Agents, are you ready to build instant trust with the sellers and buyers you meet? Well, with today's sponsor, Authorify, you can become a published author and gain instant credibility with potential clients. You'll easily win listings and buyers will want you to represent them as their agent. Imagine handing somebody your book instead of a business card and watching them realize that you're the real deal and want to list with you. Even better, you can try this out for free because Authorify is giving you a free sample book so you can see exactly how it works. Simply go to authorify.com/sample to claim your free sample book now. As you were doing the TikTok stuff and kind of building that up, what were you looking at as your kind of like indicators that this is successful? This is where I should be focusing my attention.
I think it really started going, at first it was like views, but now I'm seeing views don't mean much. It's more so about shares because they're saying that whatever you said in the video is impactful enough that we want to share with somebody that may be wanting to just visit Houston. And so I see that shares to me that is like my success rate. Now everybody else has their different success rate. I talked to another realtor and her success is that somebody watches the video all the way through. And honestly, I'm just like, well, honestly, if you share it with somebody else, they can watch the video all the way through. So that didn't really matter to me. But it just depends on what you find because it's gotten so technical now. I will say that. Earlier this year or even last year, it was much more, could you be good at storytelling? And, if you're good at storytelling and people are really like just watching your watching your video, now I need to see how's this going to translate into a sell. And, to me, once again, I find it that I'm giving enough value if you can share my video.
Yeah, absolutely. And, for the people that have reached out to you, from your videos, what have those conversations been like? How has that been different from maybe even the people that you reached out to from those previous Facebook campaigns that were more of the cold lead?
Yeah. So, I mean, on Facebook, they just fill out a form and says my name, my address, or not my address, my name, my email, and I'm looking to buy or rent or sell. So I don't know anything. When you hit me up on TikTok, a lot of times it's a question. Hey, I'm headed to Houston during this time. What are some more restaurants to, that I could check out or something like that? And so I'll tell them, I'll talk to them like a regular person, and I'll say, hey, by the way, are you visiting family? Or, I always say that, are you visiting family? Are you here for a girls trip? Or, just trying to see what they're doing. And so sometimes they're saying, I'm thinking about moving to Houston. It's super cheap and da da da. So that's what I hear a lot. And so I'm just like, oh, really? We'd love to show you some homes while you're here. So, I mean, it kind of just translates. It's rare that somebody hits me up and say, hey, I need to buy a home. It's more so they're asking about the Houston life, and they kind of translate. And if they're looking to move here, then we can kind of go into there.
Are you primarily working with buyers that are, kind of, are you I guess, are you kind of creating your own brand as like a new home buyer, a relocation specialist? What's kind of the avenue that that you would like to or have been setting up for yourself?
So, before I was just like, anybody who wants to buy, let me help you. But
Right.
now I think I am going more into the relocation, because I mean, my last couple of buyers, they've been, from different states, and I really enjoyed kind of helping them navigate Texas. I have learned that Texas is so different from other regions. One big thing is, for everybody listening, we do not have basements, but that is a big thing in other areas. And so they come down there just like, where's the basement? I'm like, there is no basement. A lot of people are really surprised on how much land you're going to get. Another big thing is a lot of people don't know about HOAs. And so explaining that. And so I have really enjoyed not only helping you find the next purchase that your family's going to love, but now I'm helping you like rediscover yourself in this whole new city, state, environment, atmosphere. That's a big thing. Having people that come from a lot of snow and ice, and we might get it 1 or 2 days out of the year. And, they're just like, why don't y'all build this in your homes? And it's like, well, we don't need to. I mean, we worry more about flooding or tornadoes and not
Right.
a snowstorm like ever. And so you definitely relocation, but I also say that I help a lot of first time home buyers as well, and just really navigate that whole process.
Yeah. So what's that, what's that like, to walk somebody through that, that first time home buying process? Cause I think that's one of those things where if you ever needed like a pick me up for a career or, to keep you going,
Mm-hmm.
it's handing those keys over to somebody for the first time and you really seeing their life change.
Mm-hmm. You know, the biggest thing that I tell people, and, once again, I never care if they're working with me or not. I always tell them to vet your real estate agent, because as a first time home buyer, it is so scary. You are not just a real estate agent. You are walking them through emotions and feelings, and you are now becoming their therapist, their marriage counseling, babysitter. Sometimes you got to help with the dog. Like, it is so many things you have to help with and make them understand and help them understand that, this is not just, oh yeah, I'm going to go out and buy some new shoes. This is a purchase that they might have for the rest of their life. So it's very emotional. And I think a lot of people don't realize that, but it's also like your realtor needs, let's be honest, somebody has a realtor that they know. And so you really have to figure out, why choose me? And there are so many things people don't know about, a lot of programs, a lot of grants, how to negotiate. I've not had one client that I didn't negotiate that the seller's paying for all the closing costs and now I have to negotiate that they're also paying my fee too. And so, like, there's a lot of money that comes into buying a home, which literally scares people off. And so I have to make sure that, or any real estate agent needs to make sure that we are negotiating, that you are winning and you feel like you won. Um, Buyer remorse is such a big thing. And I think people don't really realize that. And as a realtor, I think that is your job. Just showing homes, anybody can do that. I can open up a door, I can show you the home. But now let's talk about what this looks like 3 months after you've closed, a year after you close, paying those property taxes for the first time. What is mud? Like little things like that just makes a world of a difference.
Right. Absolutely. And I think, by, especially if you're working with people relocating, really educating them on the area
Mhm.
that they're purchasing. Because you can look at a home listing, online and think this is the perfect place for me.
Mhm.
But you might not know much about what all the surrounding area has to offer you, or how does that really fit into your family plan, not just today,
Right.
but in 5 years from now, or things like that. And having that expertise and being able to walk them through that, not just, what's inside the four walls of the home, but what's on the outside, and what's this going to look like for your life, I think is really invaluable.
Exactly. One thing that really disturbs my spirit to this day. I was working with the older gentleman, and he was moving from I wouldn't even say out of state. It was like up in the kind of by Oklahoma, but it was still Texas area. And so he was moving down here for his daughter. I was helping him out, and his biggest things was taxes and HOA. Like that's all he really cared about. He didn't care much about the house. It was just him. And so I was helping him, showing him different houses. And his biggest concern was, why is there HOA? So all the nice houses, of course, you're going to have an HOA. So he's like, why is there HOA everywhere? So I'm like, okay, is that a concern for you? He's like, yeah. So I told him, like, hey, I understand that. So let me try to find something that's going to have an HOA that's going to stay low. And, that's one thing that a lot of realtors, they're just looking at a check and they're not thinking about this stuff. And so unfortunately, his daughter said, oh, I got a friend who she's a realtor. She can help you. I'm like, okay, I understand. Totally, not bonded by anything. So, a couple of months later, he texted me and he told me I was right. He told me where he moved to. And I told him congratulations, but also he moved to a division that it was just being built. So right now, the HOA, or when he bought, the HOA was about, $300. But he said, oh, they just sent out a notice that it's jumping up to like $550. And I'm like, well, I'm going to let you know now, it's not going to stop there, because they still have to build amenities, and, you got to pay for that gate. And, so there's other things. And I was like, so, I always try to tell people, this is where I really say, vet your agent. So they're looking at your best interests and things that's really going to impact your life. This is a 70s, year old man. And so, I mean, he's just like, he's really trying to penny pinch, and you just put him in an area that he's going to be paying about $1,200 here in the next couple of years just for an HOA, so.
Yeah. And I think that, having your experience, with the new home construction, you saw that, because it's just like the neighborhood I live in. We bought, it was a new build.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, 2 years later, once the place was built out and it wasn't on the developer to pay for the water and all that, it got turned over to the homeowners.
Yep.
That homeowner fee went up a bit.
Yeah.
And, luckily we were all prepared for it. But still, I have to imagine there's probably a lot of people that weren't. So I think having that experience and, being able to walk people through those things is awesome.
Totally. Yeah. And Michael, it hurts my heart just thinking about that, but it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, let me ask you, so, and you mentioned it a couple times, but, with everything that's gone on with buyer agreements and all those kind of things, how's your messaging changed, or even your interaction, with clients? How's that shifted over the last few months?
So really, you have to be so careful with your words now, And so, I'm going to ask you, well, I'm not really going to ask you, but I'm just going to say this, the thing that it irritates me that when I think about this. If you went to a restaurant today and the waiter came, and before she even served you and offered you water, she said, hey, by the way, are you okay that I'm making this much money by the end of my shift? And you're signing off like, oh, yeah, sure, that makes sense. And it's like, I don't know if you're going to offer me water. I don't know if you're going to tend to my needs. I don't know if you're going to get my order wrong. I don't know any of that. And so it just really, so this is why I kind of hate the whole, oh, as soon before I even show you a house, I have to have you sign something. But I mean, it has to be done now. And so, I mean, I'm having to really press on what is different, I don't want to say what makes me different, the value. That's what I'm saying. What value am I going to bring to you that no other agent can? And, a lot of people, like I said, everybody knows an agent, and sometimes people don't really understand. And I mean, like in my head, and I can't say this, but in my head, I'm thinking I'm going to negotiate that you don't pay anything to me. But, I'm having to make sure that they understand this is what I'm going to give you that no other realtor will. And this is why my 3% is worth it. And like you have to feel comfortable with that. But it's very touchy, and it's still a sticky situation for a lot of realtors at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, in your case, how you're providing all that value on your social media channels, and you're showing, what your area has to offer. I think you know, by doing that, you are, before somebody's even actually met you, they can see that you're there to help out and, answer their questions that they might have,
Mm.
and really kind of provide that value for them again. And I think that's all, that's a great way to kind of help combat some of those questions and some of those hesitations that people might have, if they've heard different news stories or things like that about buyer agreements and all those kind of things.
Yeah, because once again, if you're moving from out of state, it's a lot of money. If this is your first time home buying experience, it's a lot of money. So now you're saying I gotta dish out more money? Like that's scary. And I heard another realtor say this, and I never thought about it like this, but when you download a new app or you go to like a new really anything, the first thing they do is they give you a list about a million words, and it says I accept, and you're signing the terms and services. That's what it is. And, most of the time we don't even read that stuff. We're just like, sure, like, let me in. And it's kind of like, you're kind of hoping for that, as a realtor, like, okay, sign my terms and services. And you're hoping that, but, they still have questions because they're still scared about how much money. I mean, this is thousands of dollars that I'm telling you, you don't know who I am like that. So pay me, and that's kind of hard.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, as you progress on in your career, and you keep bringing in these relocation, you keep doing the videos, and you're bringing in new buyer clients. At a certain point, these people are going to have to sell also.
Mm.
So, what are you doing to make sure that you are staying connected with your past clients, so that when it does come time for them to sell, or maybe they have a family member that's moving in, that you're the person that they refer to?
So in 2025, I'm gonna do something a little bit different. I'm gonna be honest, like I am probably over friendly. Every buyer that I've ever worked with, we become some kind of what of friends. And so if I know it's their birthday, or usually they follow me on social media, so I'm telling them happy birthday. I might text them, hey, it's a tornado warning. Are you safe at home? Might know that there's a freeze coming. So, hey, just make sure you wrap your pipes. Like a text that I've been sending out lately is, taxes is coming. And so I'm saying, hey, making sure that you've, filed everything. And if you have any questions, I'm trying to think of the one word that homestead. I've been telling everybody, make sure you file your homestead. And so just kind of like randomly texting them, not just saying, hey, I'm still a realtor, like not really that, but more so just staying top of mind. Like, oh, that was sweet that she thought about me. But next year, I want to start throwing little events for my buyers. And actually, I've worked with some sellers too. So anybody that's ever worked with me. And so even those people that have rented from me, I want them to come out too. So they can like learn things, have fun, have a drink or two, and just kind of reminding like, oh yeah, actually, I think I have a friend who might can benefit from this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that idea of, bringing your past clients together. Because not only, does it help, having you as kind of like that person that's, that the person that's inviting them out to all that, but they also get to see that, oh, you do have a lot of other past clients,
Yeah.
and there are a lot, like so it just helps reinforce that idea of, oh, you're the area expert.
Yeah. And, honestly, I've actually recently had a client meet another client, and it was funny. They were talking about their realtors, but they were like bragging on them. And they're just like, yeah. And she does TikToks now, and I've been seeing her at restaurants. She's like, my realtor does the same. So it was just so funny how it came about. But I was just like, well, hopefully y'all both have something good to say about me. So, that it is cool. Like when they meet in real life and they both have great things to say, it's just like, you made the right choice.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before we wrap up, we are at the time of recording this. It's coming up at the end of the year, and you talked about wanting to host those events. What are some of the other maybe 2025 goals? But then beyond that, where do you see yourself in the future?
So I'm starting a campaign for 2025. I'm helping 25 people close their homes. and save at least $25,000 in their purchase. So that is my whole campaign for 2025. 25,000 might be split up between closing costs and down payment assistance and whatever it is, upgrades. But that's my goal for 2025. And I definitely just want to be different. There's so many new realtors that are flooding the field, and they are really giving a lot of people bad reps because, like I said, they just look at it as a check and just opening up the doors and not really being there as a resource. And so, this year I just really want to be different and not just show homes, and definitely give more value. That I think there's so many with even I love TikTok. TikTok is giving so much false information about like buying homes as well. And so I just want to make sure that the right value is getting out there, and really just being different and definitely working on video production. Like it. I'm learning now new tools with CapCut, and I'm trying to. I can't. It's like a special effect that you do, but it's like the one where it looks like you're stepping over a house, or it looks like you're jumping into like a coffee mug. And so really kind of embedding that into my message as well. So making it fun, and it doesn't have to be so serious.
No, absolutely. And that's the great thing. I came from a very, so my background was video production, but more of journalist side. So it was very kind of like rigid, right? And that was before the TikToks or even the YouTubes were a thing. And what I have found, and what I wish I would have been able to convey better in my career back then, was that, you can a little bit more creativity, but really it came down to just connecting with people. I didn't need, the bells and whistles are great,
right?
And they're a lot of fun. But if you can connect with somebody on what their need is, I mean, that's really where you're going to become memorable, and where they're going to keep coming back for you.
Yeah. And, I think the biggest thing now is people have to realize, if I just had to throw this one tidbit in there, whatever video you do, even if it's just showing a home or just telling people about your day, you have 3 seconds to catch their attention. And if not, they're ready to scroll. And so, I mean, I have really been learning what is my hook, and I've been getting really good at it and using ChatGPT for really crazy hooks that are going to kind of catch people off guard. But it doesn't always have to be a talking hook. It can be a visual hook. So I'm working on those visual hooks, and it's exciting.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I think it's great. I love that you're experimenting with everything, and that you're really, trying to push your own boundaries on, different lead generation sources. But for anybody that's listening to this that wants to connect with you, where can they connect with you online?
So either you can email me at kayla@nextgen.realestate, or you can follow me on any social medias at KB_sells real estate. And that's SELLS.
Awesome. Well, I really do appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today.
Thank you, Michael. It was really a pleasure.
I want to thank Kayla for joining us today, and I'm a big believer in the power of sharing valuable information about life in your market as a lead generation tool. Remember, I've included links in the episode description to Kayla's social media channels. So once again, if you think you or someone else on your team has an incredible story or tips to share with our community, send us a message to feedback@smartagents.com. Well, that wraps things up for this episode, but remember, follow the show wherever you listen to podcasts, and make sure to subscribe to the Smart Agents YouTube channel. Again, I'm Michael Walter, and we'll see you on the next episode.